Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for a presentation tonight on our new Melly Center. It's really going to be a game changer, we think, for all the students that are interested in finance and business and innovation. And we really appreciate you taking the time tonight to join us. My name is Sue Willard. I'm one of the senior associate directors of admissions here at Hobart and William Smith, and I'm joined by some fantastic HWS community members to go over all of these incredible offerings with you tonight. They're going to be presenting for probably 20 or 25 minutes, and then are happy to answer questions towards the end. So if you'd like to put a question in the general chat or put a question directly to me, they're happy to answer those at the end. But without further ado, let me introduce the two people that are going to be presenting tonight. So first is HWS trustee and former JP Morgan Chase Global Chairman of Investment Banking, Eric Stein, who is a member of the class of 1989. He has been an integral part of shaping the Melly Institute for Business, Innovation, and Leadership to prepare a new generation of bold thinkers and trailblazers. He is a 1989 graduate of Hobart, where he majored in economics and played on the Statesman lacrosse and football teams, earning multiple awards and honors. Since graduating and launching his career, he has consistently reached back to make certain that HWS students get internships and first jobs. He just ran a financial modeling boot camp and in-person interview sessions here on campus. And I have to say, I have a lot of students that have interacted with Eric, and I think one of the most important things that alums can do is give back their time, and Eric has been someone who's done that to an extraordinary extent. And next, who's going to be moderating the questions with Eric is about the Melly Institute is Brandy Ferrara, who serves as Hobart and William Smith's Assistant Vice President of Career Services, where she is in charge of strategic leadership and management. So without further ado, Brandy and Eric, please take it away.
Great. Well, welcome everybody, and I'm excited to be able to moderate tonight and talk with Eric so that he can share some great information about what everyone's been working on. And so, Eric, starting with your career at JP Morgan, what is the single most valuable skill you've developed at Hobart that you think truly sets you apart from your peers who graduated from more specialized business programs?
All right. Well, before I answer that great question, I just wanted to thank the Hobart and William Smith staff and community for having me on. I see a lot of young faces, a few, shall I say, middle-aged faces like myself, and it's great to talk with everybody. So, Brandy, I think just as a bit of an aside. So I live in Connecticut, and last night I went to an alumni event at JP Morgan, which was an awesome event. Jamie Dimon hosts it, and I spent a fair amount of time with him when I was at JP Morgan. I had a nice chat with him. One of the things that got discussed last night was how should one think about the world of AI and the world of finance and all of those things. And what clearly came across is looking for a different kind of thinker than maybe we traditionally have seen in the finance world. So, Brandy, when you asked the question, what is the most important thing that I took away from HWS, it was how to think. Like, we've become, I think, pretty programmed to be a little bit robotic in the world we live in today, and understanding how to communicate, write effectively, as opposed to just having AI sort of write your stuff for you. Having some empathy, real EQ in the workforce. That was a huge part of what I developed at Hobart and William Smith. Hugely important. And I did an interview that is on the website somewhere now. And one of the things that, we did at JP Morgan when I was running the banking business was we actually looked at how did liberal arts majors do as they evolve throughout their career. Like we're doing all this recruiting, we get a bunch of people that can answer the interview questions really well because they're finance majors, but how did they actually do? Like the two different kinds of educational backgrounds. And what we found was in the first little while of one's career, when you first arrive on the job, yeah, the finance majors who have been drilled in all of this stuff at pick your school, they have a little bit of a head start because they've been going through this stuff left, right, and center. But over time, the liberal arts major outperformed. And why was that? Because they were smart enough to learn the analytical side, but they had another thing that the pure finance robot didn't have, which was the ability to communicate, the ability to listen, the ability to think critically. And I always, I had done and moved up the ranks at JP Morgan, and I was always proud of the background I had, proud of the fact that I could learn quickly. And I was especially proud that a little old economics major could outperform the finance major over time. So anyway, that would probably be the most important thing for me.
Great, thank you. So as we think about as you were saying, those finance majors, what they were bringing in, those technical skills, how would you describe the Melly Institute and thinking about how it's going to really support the work of the liberal arts education?
Yeah, so this is a really important part that if you listen to anything, listen to this. Maybe you'll listen to nothing else that I say, but as we worked with the administration and the staff, those of us on the board who lived and breathed the investment banking world, the finance world, we didn't, when we advocated and talked about having a business management major and the ability to learn finance and marketing and all of these different aspects of business, we didn't want to just provide a major because anybody can do that. What we really tried to do was tailor it for not just today's very complicated world that has AI and obviously finance and all those different elements to it, but also what's going to best prepare students for whatever comes tomorrow. Like we've already seen in the last 2 or 3 years, the the tidal wave of AI. I feel like I hear the letters AI every 10 minutes, whether it's on the news or at work or wherever the case may be. And we wanted to develop something very unique and different. And so what we collectively discussed and is now being implemented, and I have to say it's awesome, and I'm super proud of like the staff that are executing on this, is we first wanted to provide a curricular experience that supports the students early in their career when the recruiting process begins. So the ability to be exposed to accounting and corporate finance concepts early, not when you're a senior and it's a little too late from an interviewing process. So early in the process. The second thing we wanted to do within the Melly Institute is integrate it within our career services capability. And Brandy leads that effort for us. I've dug into our career services effort as a board member, and it is awesome. Like we get students in early. I'll talk a little bit how we're integrating that effort into the Melly Institute here, but it is an awesome, awesome group that is very hands-on and very personal with you, which is just great to see. And what we try to do with Melly is really create an integrated experience between the curricular experience, the career services experience, our Center for Leadership, our Center for Entrepreneurship. These are all things that are become very, very integrated. So what is a real world example of this? That's probably the best way to describe it. And this is something that I personally felt very strongly about. When a student comes in as a first year, we want to basically lay out for them a playbook. And that's the way I think about it. Maybe it's the sports background in me, but it's a playbook. Let's just pick investment banking or finance, the world that I lived most of my life in here. In the old world and in many institutions, you go and you decide to major in something, and hopefully you spend some time in the career services office, and you hope to be able to get the right classes, and you hope to be able to interview. We lay out a timeline for all of the important elements that you need to, be on top of. Again, a playbook. So what does that mean? From a curricular, if you just think about the curricular piece of it for a second, we want you to take accounting early in your freshman year. Call it your fall of your freshman year. We want you to take a corporate finance class the spring of your freshman year. You may want to take another relevant finance class the fall of your sophomore year. Why do you want to do that? Well, interviewing for investment banking, and this is crazy, and I tried to fight it while at JP Morgan, and it was like, fighting a tidal wave. People are recruiting earlier and earlier. So right now, if you're the sophomores that want an internship before their senior year in college, sophomores in the fall are starting to prepare. And they need to be preparing for the technical aspects of the interview, and they need to be networking into Wall Street. Why? Because the interviews start in January, February, and at the latest March. So in January, February, and March, you will be interviewing for an internship 16 months later. It's a little bananas, but it's the reality. So rather than fight it, we want to work with it and help the students prepare so that they can compete effectively against any school in the country. And that's what this program is designed to do. So by taking some classes early on, you start to prepare. Now you start to curricularly, that's a word, prepare. And now you get to the second piece of the puzzle, which is Brandy's group, Career Services. So early in your freshman year, Brandy reaches out to you as a student to say, come in, what is your interest? She tracks every single student in the school, like where are they, what are they doing, where have their interests, where have they expressed interest? And let's say someone comes in and expresses interest in going into investment banking or finance. She then works with the faculty to make sure that certain students can get the classes they need to be prepared. That is a key piece of the integration that, so you're not just some random name appearing on a class trying to register to get in. You actually have an advocate in the Career Center to help you. Okay, so that's an important piece of the puzzle. Another piece of this through the Career Center is a whole series of modules that help you prepare for the interviewing process that we provide through a third party. So by taking those modules, you begin to complement what you've learned in the classroom, in the classes that we're, of course, trying to get you to take early on in your career or in your experience at Hobart and William Smith. And importantly, the teachers understand what's in those modules. And so there's a interaction, just from a way they'll teach the class to help you correlate what you may have learned from one of these modules. So nobody's operating in a vacuum. They're all very closely connected. So that integration with career services helps you gain as much knowledge as quickly as possible so that when you get into the winter of your sophomore year, you're ready to go. The last piece, or not the last, but another piece of the puzzle is our alumni. So our alumni in most schools, and I've seen it with tons of students, where they're just sort of shooting darts into the alumni network, hoping to land one of the darts on someone that will help them. We take a different approach. We create a cohort by industry. So whether that's finance or investment banking professionals that are working in the field, or doctors or lawyers or environmental scientists, and we create a mini cohort. So, and that's an organized cohort. So in the investment banking world, we had, Brandy, 25 alum or so.
Yep.
Who actively participate in an organized effort where we got on a call like this and we talked about what the students are doing, how many students are interested, how to actively help them, what they're learning in the financial modeling and finance classes, or I won't say finance class, I would say interview prep classes that I taught. It's probably the best way to put it, and I'll explain that in a minute. So that they know what's coming and they're organized to help. And we meet periodically so that they're held accountable as alum to help the students. So when people talk about Hobart and William Smith being relationship rich, you'll hear that phrase thrown around. That's the kind of thing that they're referring to. The relationships with Brandy and her staff, the relationships with the faculty, and the relationships with the alumni who want to help because they had a great experience at Hobart and William Smith and they want to help. So instead of firing darts into random spots, you have a group of folks who are there to help you. So all of this to say, as a parent, which I am, or as a student, when you arrive, we're here to sort of grab you by the hand and say, hey, what are you interested in? And you don't have to have an answer day one. But if you have a hunch, we can help you. If you have more than a hunch and you say, hey, I really want to think about medical school or law school, or I want to think about investment banking, okay, here's the playbook. Here's how you should think about it. What's really important to all this is that that's a piece of your curriculum. We're encouraging, not only encouraging, it's a core part of our curriculum that, yeah, you're going into investment banking, but you're going to take a psychology class and you're going to take an English class and you're going to take a history class or an art class or whatever the case may be to round out your skill set so you retain a perfect complement of critical liberal arts thinking, which is needed in a world of AI, with sort of the technical skills that we're going to teach you to be able to do, in this case, a finance job. And so, a big part of Melly is how to think about the evolution and the future of AI and how to compete in a world that's not ever changing. It's changing like every day. It seems like it's changing on how to prepare yourself for an AI world. And that's part of what Melly does, right? It encompasses some of those critical features to help you prepare. So that playbook, we think, is a huge, huge differentiator And I will say, I went up to the school 3 times and I taught kids how to interview. And I taught them what the questions are going to be asked. And I think people get very intimidated by investment banking, as I did when my youth. But what's great about it is if somebody just explains a few things to you, it's just adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing. And one of the things I told the kids is you don't have to be the smartest person in the room to go be an investment banker. You have to be smart enough to understand the concepts, but you have to be able to think critically, and you have to be able to listen, and you have to be able to work really well in a team and be willing to work hard and learn. And I think I took the intimidation factor off the table for folks, and they realized that they can compete really well in this field. And as I explained the concepts, light bulbs were going off because they weren't just reading it in a textbook. And that's the kind of thing we're trying to accomplish, which is give people real life knowledge so that they can compete in the interview process. So extremely long-winded way of describing what we hope Melly to be. But I will tell you, as I've talked to about it with people at JP Morgan and others, they're seeing us fill a niche, which is a very different way of going about it in terms of the integration with both alumni, career services, and whether it's our leadership center, et cetera.
Great. Thank you. And you did address my next question as we were thinking about the current technical and behavioral skills. And I think the work that you did with the students really showcases that of coming to campus and leading them through.
Well, just to give people a sense as to what I went through, I was very proud of myself, by the way, being 58 years old and being able to put together my own PowerPoint presentation. I was like extremely proud of myself. But we literally went through, how do you value a company? Like, how do you do it? What are the techniques? What's the lingo you'll be hearing? How to present your answer in a way that isn't memorized. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they interview in investment banking is you memorize a formula for whatever it might be. And when you do that, the interviewer, because I did this thousands of times, you pick it up right away. Within 5 seconds, you're going to know whether that person memorized the formula or whether they really understood the concept. So we spend a lot of time giving a macro level perspective on what is the formula trying to accomplish. Because if you can present it in the context of a bigger picture, the interviewer is going to see that you understand it in a different way than just memorizing a formula. And they're not likely to dive deeper into a lot of questioning if you show a bigger picture perspective. So we spent a lot of time on that. We went through all of the methodologies in detail. We talked about how people think about a portfolio, how they think about markets, how you should think about how investment banking is organized, like the different investment banks. So I think people found it very helpful. And importantly, of the people who attended, all of those folks were organizing one-on-one follow-up sessions that I'm with a couple of people. I'm going on my 3rd session. Right now, it's taking a lot of my time, which is fine. But it's satisfying because you can see people get into it, and I've seen them learn, right? And so this is all part of what I'll call, or what I have called, the playbook to really help folks, understand the process.
Great. Thank you. And I'm so glad you highlighted our alums and the great work that they do. And part of that piece too, I just want to mention before we go to questions here, is the career treks that Eric and his team at JP Morgan were a part of for so many years, where students get some hands-on experience, going to see firsthand what these organizations are all about. They're hearing from alums that represent all the major banks in the city, and certainly financial services. And so there's great synergy with our alums. I can't say enough about them. And so, Eric, I'm so grateful to you, as you're a great representation of how our alums continue to support HWS. And we're nearing the end of our half hour, which is incredible that it's gone by so quickly. So, Sue, do they have any questions for Eric?
No one has put a question in the chat yet. So if you have a question, please feel free to put it in the general chat or to put it directly to me. We'll give it a minute or so for people to do that. So Eric can send. So the first question we have is, what's one part of the program that you're most excited to see the first scholars bring to life?
Great question.
Oh, yeah, it is a great question. So one of the things that we're going to do, and one thing we haven't mentioned, so this is all made possible by a $70 million gift that was given to the school by Tom and Judy Melly. Tom Melly was a longtime Goldman guy and just a terrific supporter of Hobart and William Smith over the years. Part of those funds are going to basically put up a Melly Center, which will be a state-of-the-art technology center with Bloomberg terminals and things like that to really bring this to life. So some of it's already coming to life, whether it's the sessions I did, whether it's the cohorts by industry, the timing of the curriculum, that's already starting to come to life. I am really excited to see the new facility get developed, and it'll be very modern, very AI and finance centric. So it's going to be exciting to see, and that would probably be my answer to that.
Yeah. I think I would add to that I'm, from our perspective, the technical skill training and opportunities, the certificate opportunities, credentialing, badging for students where you're going to develop or further develop technical skills that you may start learning in a classroom, that this will give you an opportunity to really develop some areas of expertise that will help to leverage your candidacy when you're applying for opportunities.
Okay, so I'm looking at the questions here. The second one, what are the requirements for Melly?
Yep. I'm going to put that in the group chat to the chat to everyone, so they have those just to the scholarship. But it is just so everyone, I've had many of these questions. The Melly Scholarship is our top merit award. It's $46,000 a year for that cohort, and we're looking to enroll 15 to 20 students in that cohort this year. And those are for top innovators interested in business and those types of things. And there are some really great perks in addition to that, like you receive a computer and programs within it, fantastic mentorship. But that is our top merit award. So it wouldn't be added in addition to your academic merit award. It is the top one. So if you are a Melly Scholar, that takes the place of any other scholarship that you would be awarded, just to clarify. But I will put more information on that. But while I'm doing that, we can go to the next question is, why did you choose HWS, and what has made you come back time and time again to give back?
So I chose HWS for a couple reasons. One, I was an athlete and I wanted to play football, and I picked up lacrosse when I was there, something you could do back in the 80s, a little more difficult to do today, given the skill level. But I love the fact that I could play a sport. I love the campus. So I've seen a lot of campuses. My kids are two are out of college, one's a senior in college. I've not seen many campuses that are nicer than Hobart and William Smith. I love that it was on the lake. I love that that provided activity. I loved the Greek system there. I had a ton of fun at Hobart. And I love that like when I did a tour of the school and I met some of the teachers, they actually cared. You're not just sort of a number, you're actually a relationship with them. And that mattered to me. It mattered as much as my relationship with coaches. And so, yeah, that was probably why I chose it.
And I will say one clarification, and there is a link in there to the Melly Scholars Program. The Melly Scholars is open to any academic major or minor, as is the Melly Center. There are a bunch of certificate programs that aren't just about finance. I know tonight has been focusing on finance more specifically, but the scholarship and the center is open to any student on campus, regardless of your major or minor. And then let's see here. Okay, the next question is, how do you feel that your liberal arts education that you received from Hobart and William Smith prepared you for your time in grad school at NYU?
When I went to grad school, I learned how to study at Hobart and William Smith. I learned how to write papers. Again, I learned how to communicate. Obviously, when I went to NYU and was learning whether it was accounting or finance and all the different elements of that, you draw on your educational training to learn new material. And so the other thing is I learned how to compete, whether it was through sports. Um, but I just wanted to do well, and I from Hobart and William Smith, I wouldn't say from the curricular side of it did I learn how to compete at Hobart and Smith, but I learned how to compete in the athletic side. And when you go into the working world, there's a lot of camaraderie, there's a lot of team orientation to life, but you're also competing, right? You want to do well. And so, I was there with people from Harvard and Penn and Princeton and Duke and blah, blah, blah. And I did as well or better than all of them. And I credit Hobart and William Smith for it. If you took a straight IQ test, I might not have come out on top. But I knew how to study and learn and, compete.
All right, let's see here. So these are more questions I think that are more directed to me. So in terms of the scholarship, our scholarship deadline, so for those of you after hearing the program tonight, you'd like to apply for the Melly Scholarship, the deadline for that is December 1st. Okay, our early action deadline is November 15th. Our early decision 1 deadline is November 15th. Our scholarship deadline, so for the Melly Scholarship, in addition to the Arts Scholarship, the Debate Scholarship, Civic Engagement, and Service, those are all a December 1st deadline. And you can apply for those once you submit your Common App to Hobart William Smith. Okay, another question. Will the Melly Institute be able to support students who may or may not be interested in Wall Street per se, but have an entrepreneurial business interest that they'd like to integrate with other academic interests, for example, environmental science?
100%. And it's one of the things. I grew up, I worked in the finance world for 33 years, so Sue's right. I've probably been a little heavy towards the finance side. Understand that there's someone just like me in the entrepreneurship, angle of this, right? We've got tons of entrepreneurs who have gone on to do incredible things in the startup new companies, et cetera. That's a key part of our Center for Entrepreneurship. So, 1000%. That's exactly what Melly is designed to do. If you want to be a psychology major, but you're interested in being an entrepreneur and you want to leverage some of the learnings out of Melly, that's what it's there for. So, 100%. Can't emphasize that enough.
Okay, another
Yeah.
question. This is one I can, I'm sorry, go ahead. If Brandy, if you have.
Oh, I was just going to say, and you're getting support around all of these areas. So environmental science, we've got career community for students who are interested in the environment to support you. The same type of alum support as you think about the skills and training that you'll need. There's opportunities there too, as we think about like GIS and there's some like a mapping system, coding. thinking about Excel. There's a lot of skills that you would be able to take advantage of through the Melly Institute that will support your major, no matter where you fall with your interest areas. And as Sue said, it's open to all students.
And I remember hearing both of you speak about it, real estate,
Mhm.
talking about sports management potentially. So it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think that with the generosity of the Mellies, the sky's the limit to how we can use the center. And I think one of the beauties of our graduates is they can pivot. They can do a lot of different things because of those skills that we talked about in the beginning. Another question here, it's one for me, I think. So if you receive an outside scholarship from a different organization other than Hobart and William Smith, how would that work if you receive a Melly scholarship or any of ours? We treat any outside scholarship as something that you've earned, and we will put that in addition to any institutional aid, need, or merit that you're receiving from Hobart and William Smith. So it will be put on top of anything that you're receiving from us. But I think we might have time for one more question if there's any. So there's another question. What is the timeline for the new center construction? Is this the first class for the Institute? Yes, this is the first Melly Scholars cohort. But the timing of the construction, Brandy, do you know more of the timing for that?
I'm actually going to turn that over. We didn't mention that Bob O'Connor, our chief of staff, is on the call today, and he's been really spearheading from campus this whole initiative. And so, Bob, do you want to speak to where we're at in terms of the building?
Sure. Thanks, Brandy, and welcome. So the physical space we're looking at on campus is central, and we've got early plans in design. We're hoping to have it open in the next fall or January, in that time frame. So sooner the better. But you can imagine a space that is completely decked out with technology, floor to ceiling screens, Bloomberg terminals, the opportunity for zooming our alums, parents in to can provide mentorship guidance, so it's a high tech arena for all of this to happen, and all of our pre-professional clubs to meet, and so it should be hopefully in the next 8 to 12 months.
Thank you very much. And I know there's a question, some confusion on the website. Yes, the deadline for applications for early action and early decision one is November 15, but I can confirm that the deadline for scholarship applications is December 1st. We wanted to extend it to December 1st so everybody has the ability to apply. Students are notified of any merit scholarship that they are awarded when they receive their admissions decision. So if you're admitted, your merit scholarships will be included right there with your admissions decisions. Is there anything else? So there's a couple of specific questions. So I can explain how the Leadership Institute works and when the interview will occur. So I think with interviews for the Melly, we'll be narrowing that down and notifying the students that we would like to interview for the Melly Scholarship. The other merit scholarships that we have for leadership, service, the arts, those do not require an interview. It just requires a separate small essay as to what those mean to you and your impact. So there isn't an interview on those. There's a question about the English proficiency scores. We do need English proficiency scores when we review an application. So regular decision might be a good deadline for that student. But I guess we're running a little long here. So I'd like to really yes, Eric, any closing thoughts from
I
Brandy or
just
Eric?
want to make one closing comment, and this is really directed to the parents that are on the call. So for all of you who are stressing about this process of getting into school, and then you immediately shift gears and you start stressing on behalf of your child on how to get an internship and how to get a job. I've been there. I went through all of it. I understand exactly what that stress feels like. And I was upset that where my kids went to school didn't do enough to help out. And I felt like the burden fell on me and anyone who I knew to help them. And what we're trying to do here is to take some of that burden off of you by when your child comes on campus and expresses an interest in a field, we grab them by the hands and we say, here's how you can go from where you are today to getting an internship, which, by the way, we guarantee. So we're here, we understand, and as I've said to others, we got you in this process to help your child.
Yeah, I think the key is the day one of college, blank sheet of paper. That's your resume. And it's up to us to really give you the opportunity to fill that resume up. And it's up to you to have the hustle and the curiosity and forthright thought of just, I'm going to fill it up. I'm going to take advantage of all these opportunities because you have a lot of people trying to help you. But without further ado, I'd just like to say thank you very much to Brandy, to Eric, and to Bob for being here tonight, and for all of you. We hope you all choose to apply. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us, whether it's myself directly at admissions, Brandy. This is being recorded, so if you would like the recording of it, we'd be happy to share that with you. But all the best. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Happy Veterans Day, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.